Kempire is brought to you by. Do you know how important it is to rate and review a podcast? Rate and review the Kempire podcast today. 5 stars. Let us know what you love about the podcast. Rate and review the Kempire podcast on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Did you know that you can watch the Kempire channel on YouTube, Facebook, and on Twitter? Follow us on all of our platforms. More information on our YouTube, our Blue Sky, our Twitter, aka X, and more socials, and every way that you can support us will be available in the episode notes. You're listening to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network. Oh, I always get distracted by my own ad. I was vibing out. Shout out to Coco on TikTok. Said I bought the retinol oil. You should. I like it. I really, really like it. If you're watching on TikTok, check out our shopping cart there. If you're watching here on YouTube or Facebook, check out the description for more details on how you can upgrade your skincare routine with our friends over at Buttah. All right. Happy Monday, guys. We were just live for our Real Housewives of I was going to say Miami. Oh, we miss you, Miami. Our Real Housewives of Atlanta recap. We had a lot of information to cover, a lot of opinions, strong opinions, and I think that's going to continue as we talk about the Kenya of it all next week. So make sure you're subscribed and make sure your notifications are on. Make sure that you're following us on other platforms so that you are notified because, YouTube notifications seem to be, Shout out to our King's Guard. Shout out to our channel members. Become a member today at teamkempire.com/join. Look at the fact that I'm still, I know I was a couple of minutes late. However, not that bad, right? Not too bad. Okay. All right. Where do we even begin? So last week's episode of Married to Medicine ended on the whole issue between Dr. Contessa and Dr. Heavenly and the issues that they've been having, and her bringing up the rumors that Dr. Damon may have been a cheat and that there have been people talking about him cheating and that a woman may have asked him, or he asked for a woman's number. Both Dr. Simone and Toya confirmed that they've heard rumors. Okay, Quad says, I never heard anything. I think at this particular point that Quad and Dr. Heavenly have an alliance, and even if she did hear something, she's not going to say it. Are the rumors true? Just because you hear something on the street doesn't mean that it's true. But now I understand why Dr. Gregory might say, I'm not going to sit here and defend you because maybe he's heard things too. All right, so before we even get into this, I do want to put out a disclaimer. We don't know these people. This is a reality show. I know there are a lot of people, especially, I didn't even realize how strong people's opinions are when it comes to Married to Medicine, especially in these last few years. And I think because of how toxic Married to Medicine has been, it's attracted a lot of toxicity outside of the cast and into the people that are providing commentary on it, or people just providing comments. A reminder, we don't know these people. I will be everywhere and in between when talking about some of the stuff because I can see points on either side. We're going to talk all about it. And again, please understand, once we stop talking about this show next week, these people are no longer in your lives. You're not going to even think about them. So just pay attention to how you're feeling and how a show is making you feel. If you're getting so angry about something, it might be time to take a break. Okay? Just an FYI. We don't know these people and they don't care to know us. I'm okay with that too. Okay. All right. Where do we even begin? So back to what I was saying. Dr. Contessa and Dr. Heavenly are hashing out their stuff, and the whole cheating rumors about Dr. Damon Daddy comes up. All right. So Dr. Heavenly decides to talk about Dr. Contessa's, quote, botched surgery. So, of course, Dr. Contessa, I saw on social media, also talked about her mastectomy that she ended up having so that she did not get breast cancer. Even if we did not know that, Dr. Heavenly knows that. First of all, she talked about it on the show. So Dr. Heavenly, all of us know what happened with Dr. Contessa. But the fact that Heavenly, yet again, and mind you, she said, I apologize to her I apologized to her. Okay. An apology means nothing if you do the same toxic behavior, Dr. Heavenly. Apology means nothing if you're going to do the same thing over and over again. And if we believe you, we're the insane ones. So she refers to Dr. Contessa's breasts as botched surgery. And of course, she has to remind her, so you're talking about the mastectomy that I ended up having. So I did not end up with breast cancer. And this is coming from someone who claims to be a well, she's not claimed, but she is a board certified doc. You want to talk about Black excellence and what you guys do on the show and what you're not going to. You continuously show your hand, Dr. Heavenly. And Dr. Jackie, Bravo might not be getting you together. We are going to get you together in this recap. Because as all our mothers would say, show me your friends and show me who you are. Because you continuously have said that this is your friend and you're always trying to get her together, but not enough. Oh, I didn't want to get it on me. Really? It's already on you. It's already on you because you showed your true colors before. Multiple times. Now we understand why you're close with Dr. Heavenly. And you saw how Andy Cohen sort of just brushed over it. It was a question for Dr. Jackie, and she's like, I didn't want to get any of it on me. Okay, girl. You of all people, and then we have a whole conversation about the current administration and abortion and what's happening to Black women in the we can't take you seriously when you're friends with a woman that does that. Talks about a woman that removed her breast so that she didn't get breast cancer. We can't take you seriously when that's one of your best friends. All right, let me calm down. Talking about being passionate. Take a sip. And Bravo just lets her get away with it. No, answer the question. What do you mean you don't want to get it on you? That's your friend. This is the friend you took to the White House saying these things. That friend is actually a liability for your credibility. Some people might say it's too late. Oh, I agree, Destiny. Even when she mentioned it during the season, Destiny says, I don't like that whole mother-in-law Stitch comment. Very misogynistic. I mean, it's the truth of what that is. However, the fact that she brings that up and they just sort of make light of it, like, oh yeah, that's yesteryear. We're not talking about that today. Let's focus on you not responding to this comment. All right, I'm fast forwarding. All right. So I feel like Dr. Heavenly with the hat, except I don't got a bad wig under this one. Why does she have such bad wigs? Just asking. I mean, when you have so much money, I'm like, come on, you think you would have the best wigs in the world, even though I know plenty of people with money with bad wigs. All right. We'll leave that alone. All right. So Dr. Jackie gets emotional. Quad says, don't cry, Dr. Jackie. Now, I'm not feeling bad for Dr. Jackie. She gets emotional because she's like, these two used to be good friends. I don't think anyone could really be friends with Dr. Heavenly. Who are Dr. Heavenly's real friends? Outside of this show, who are Dr. Heavenly's real girlfriends? I bet she always says her best friend's her daughter, which is a cute thing to say, but it just says to me, yeah, you don't have any other friends. And there's a reason. You're no friend. I do believe that they had a real friendship. Her and Dr. Contessa had a real friendship before. And she threw her under the bus. And look, we're not making excuses for Dr. Contessa and her gaslighting us. But I truly believe that Dr. Heavenly, if it means clicks and likes, you talk about people twerking for clicks and likes, she definitely does. She definitely does. So Dr. Jackie gets really emotional. Talking like this recap, y'all gonna be like, so Kempire, whose side are you on? I'm on my side. Team Kempire. All day, every day, because the only person I can vouch for 100% is myself. I don't know these people. I can only base my opinions on them based off of a show, which is edited. And we don't know a lot about these people. All we know is what they've given us on the show. Ms. Esquire says, thank you for being a member. Your minor / a young adult child should not be your best friend. That is so unhealthy. You saw when was it? Was it on the show? Yeah, I think it was on the show when she called. Yeah, it was on the show when she called Alora, and Laura was like, yeah, Ma, I can't talk. I gotta go. I was like, first of all, disrespectful. And she just hung up on her. All right. Okay. So Dr. Jackie gets emotional and she says that Heavenly and Contessa used to be really good friends. She can't believe that they can't get back to that place. Okay. Andy, then he says for the 10th time, thank you guys so much for the gifts on TikTok. For the 10th time, because she's been on the show for 10 seasons. So for the 10th time, we are talking about your social media. And then Heavenly tries to switch it up on Andy Cohen because Andy Cohen is a Bravo executive, or used to be. He's still sort of like a Bravo exec. He's an executive over, Real Housewives, but they like to play it down, especially with the reality TV reckoning, but he is someone that wields power there. And she's like, Andy, do you want me to stop? And Andy is quick with it. He's just like, well, if you were talking about me on your YouTube channel, I would. Because Dr. Heavenly in that moment, because he's an executive and she knows that her being messy on this YouTube channel brings attention to their show. And it's one of his jobs. So it benefits him that this show keeps going on. So Andy was just like, if you were talking cash-ish about me, I wouldn't want you on social media talking about me. We know, Andy, you blocked me because I was talking about you. So he meant that. Whoa. He meant that. I don't blame him. Okay. But it does seem to be a real issue for the cast and her social media. And she's already thinking, okay, so guy, what does he call boopies? Let me know what you want me to talk about when Married to Medicine is over. We want you to take a break. I don't think you need to be on social media the entire year. If you want to do your recaps and give context to what's ever happening on the show, that's fine. But you need to take a break because I think that is where she sort of kind of lost it. I think she's gotten enthralled with the fame, as Brooke said the other day, of meeting the threshold and getting that check on the 22nd. I think she's sort of kind of gotten into that because she's on YouTube all the time. And I did get to watch Dr. Simone and Sweet Tea's conversation. We're going to talk a little bit about that too. Because I still don't trust Dr. Simone doing this. I feel like now you're switching sides. Because remember at the top of the season, I said to you guys, I don't understand why Dr. Simone is downplaying how Sweet Tea's feeling. You of all people know how Dr. Heavenly is. Why are you making excuses for her? It didn't make sense to me. And now all of a sudden you're team her because now you're against Dr. Heavenly and Quad. So that's why I still don't trust her. But I don't trust her. However, I have some comments about what happens in those last few moments. Follow me. Okay. So what was I saying? about Heavenly and her social media? Fine, whatever. So Contessa wonders if their friendship was ever real. So they seem to put a button on it, and they seem to be in a better place by the end of the segment. And Contessa gives Dr. Heavenly a compliment. She's like, "You look beautiful, and so do my breasts." Whoa. Again, what a disgusting comment from Heavenly, especially because we all know what Dr. Contessa has been through. We all know. Didn't Dr. Heavenly go over her house after her surgery on camera? Like, these are the comments that we're talking about. And I think people have made excuses. Well, it's a clapback. Okay, but there are ramifications for your clapback if you go too damn far. All right. Moving on. Sweet Tea. So Sweet Tea's package where they talk about what Sweet Tea has gone through with this group over the season. They show, we get an update in regards to Sweet Tea and in regards to her fertility journey. She said she had 2 failed attempts at the IUI, but she's starting IVF this month. She should have started IVF. Okay. So they talk about the scene, the cringy scene with Dr. Gregory and the deadline he kind of gave her in regards to having a baby. She makes excuses for him. And she says, well, no, it really wasn't a deadline. He wants us to try other routes. I could see that. I mean, based off of the scene, it didn't give us that context that it seemed like he was open to other things. It seemed like he was like, well, if we get this done in 2 years, then after 2 years, I'm done. Okay, so she makes that excuse for him. She says, well, no, he's open to other routes. Okay. I wonder if they address in part 3 some of the other cringy scenes that we had with Sweet Tea and Dr. Gregory. There were more than 1, more than 2, more than 3 cringy scenes where the way that he spoke to her was so disrespectful and not understanding. And this is coming from a psychiatrist. I know psychiatrists are real people, but when we see a stark difference in a Dr. Mimi in that assessment of everyone, I was just like, I like her. Look, I really like her. I mean, as a psychiatrist, not as a reality TV personality, I have never looked at Dr. Gregory and said to myself, He seems like he's a good psychiatrist. I've never had that thought, I promise you. Have you ever had that thought to yourself? And we're not going to talk about the reviews. The reviews speak for themselves. Okay. But I have never had that thought. All right. Okay. So they talk about that. What else do they talk about in this particular? Okay. Different routes. Simone, then Andy gets a little upset because Simone talks about the age gap dating and dating someone that's older like Dr. Gregory and why he might not want to have children too later on in life. And then, Andy Cohen has 2 babies. He's a man of a particular age. He's damn near 60. And he has young kids. So he's looking at Dr. Simone like, but it's true what she was saying. But I'm sure he's also feeling it too when you decide to have children this late in life. Please understand that won't be me. If I don't have kids in this era of my life, it will not be in the next era of my life, okay? No way. Unless you're coming with a ready-made family. I'm not doing it. And it's not because I can't keep up. I don't want to keep up. I am a Taurus. I like to sit in the lap of luxury and, cuddle with my billionaire. I don't want to be cuddling with my billionaire and his baby kids. It's funny because it's true. It's funny because it's true. People, I'm not trying to do that. All right. Simply Susie says Mimi is trying to secure a spot for next season. I think her spot is somewhat secure, especially because her husband was so likable and meshed so well with the other men. I liked her. I feel like we didn't get to see enough of her in order to make a full judgment. I know people were like, she's boring. She didn't bring anything. I think that's based off the edit. I think there's a lot more to her. Even Quad said in this episode that there's a lot more to Mimi that we didn't get to see. But the fact that she was hanging out with Quad and, the accusations that Sweet Tea had against Mimi, sort of like, is this why Sweet Tea didn't see it for Mimi because Mimi was hanging out with Quad? Or did Mimi's perspective on Sweet Tea change because she was hanging out with Quad? I don't know. I'm just putting it all out there. This is why I say be team no one, because we don't know. I'm just laying out all the information for you. Lexi says, my parents were in their 40s, which I don't think is bad. That's why I said in the next era of my life, the cutoff is now. Okay. Unless I'm going to be popping out. Look, unless I'm going to be popping out these babies now. No. It's all right. I don't feel like I know I would be a great father. I'm not that interested. Which is understandable. I love the kids, but I also love to travel without having to think about kids. All right. All right. All right. Let me move on. Okay. Someone said very boring. Come on. Ebony says very boring. Leave her alone. Not everyone needs to be turned up on Married to Medicine. Okay. I did like her perspectives. Okay. We'll get to Dr. Mimi in a second. All right. So back to Sweet Tea. This situation then turns into a Quad versus Sweet Tea. Why did Sweet Tea, you're not going to get away from these immaturity comments because Sweet Tea puts up her middle finger at Quad when they're going back and forth. I'm just like, girl, the maturity. Okay. And mind you, Sweet Tea's not that young. Sweet Tea's in her 30s. She's a grown woman. This is why people want to call her Letitia. All right. So Quad calls Sweet Tea out. She says, you had to crawl into a DM and give and say that you're going to give him a baby, and you've yet to make good on that promise. Did you guys see Dr. Simone and Andy Cohen's cringe? Andy Cohen's eyes went like this. For those that are watching on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, he's like, because this cast has been accused of so much problematic commentary on this show and behavior on this show and on socials. They were like, oh God, it's not going to land. Yeah, because you're talking about this woman's infertility or, challenges with fertility. I cringed every time I had to watch it. I was like, here we go. And no one says anything. No one calls it out. No one, and for all we know, Sweet Tea could have called it out and they edited that part out because it doesn't look good for the network. Like, I was just like, Andy's face alone told me everything that I like. That's cringy. All right. So you failed to make good on that promise. So Sweet Tea then decides to bring up Quad's alleged 2 DUIs. This is why people call Sweet Tea a fan, because a lot of the commentary that we get from Sweet Tea is a lot of what we see the fans say. All right. So she says, she also accuses Quad of being an alcoholic. And then she backtracks and, well, maybe she's not an alcoholic, but maybe she has a problem with drinking. So there have been rumors that Quad's had a DUI, but there has been no actual evidence proving that Quad has 2 DUIs. So I just want to put that out there. I don't know if she fought it and it got dismissed. I don't know. Okay. But there is no actual proof that Quad has 2 DUIs. I looked it up. The things I do for this show, or at least I tried to look it up, and I couldn't find any actual solidified proof that Quad has 2 DUIs. Okay. I also don't know if I believe Quad actually has a drinking problem. I hope she doesn't have 2 DUIs because the Carrie Huger of it all. Just saying. All right. So she brings that up. And, of course, Heavenly's like, you can't, that's very disparaging. Heavenly, please be quiet. You can't talk about people saying disparaging comments. You do it all the time to all these people. You called her husband a PDF file on social media. You can't talk about disparaging remarks. You need to sit this one out. Let Quad defend herself. Quad is well equipped to defend herself. Ambi on TikTok says Heavenly was in her, quote, best behavior. I mean, in comparison to what she's done over the years, she definitely was a little bit more demure this reunion. Okay. All right. So Sweet Tea brings up the DUIs. Then they talk about Dr. Gregory. Quad accused him of telling her to shut the F up. However, Sweet Tea says that's not what he said. He said that Quad had a big effing mouth. Sweet Tea makes excuses for him. Look, we've rehashed. That's the thing about the reunion. I don't want to rehash things that we've talked about endlessly when they aired. However, I don't like the fact that Quad even addressed them during that game. But I also don't like the way that Dr. Gregory spoke to Quad, even though they didn't notice it. And I don't like the way that Dr. Gregory spoke to Sweet Tea in that moment, because she tried to get into it with Quad, and then he was being rough with her, and then got mad with Sweet Tea later on when they went back to their room. All right. Simone then says that Quad started off about their relationship during the game. It was about, her and King, and then Quad turned her gaze and commentary towards Sweet Tea and Dr. Gregory. We saw all of that. Okay. So Heavenly decides to defend her tweet. She says that the reason why she said that Dr. Gregory was not well respected in the medical community was because Sweet Tea said that about her. But that's also where she added some funk to the tweet by adding the PDF file hashtag. All right. And in the reunion, they didn't edit it out. They showed it. I guess because they wanted to show the context. Like, no, she literally did say this. Okay. And it doesn't feel like Dr. Heavenly she says she apologized and she was sorry for it. But again, just because you don't say that again and you say something just as foul, to me, it's just, it negates the apology for me. I don't know about anyone else, but it negates the apology for me. So again, because we will revisit it, because a question was asked to Dr. Jackie. She's like, how does Dr. Jackie stand by and let a woman attack another woman's fertility issue? And Dr. Jackie's just like, I didn't want to get any on me. So everyone's like, what? She's like, I did not want to get it on me. She didn't want to get the stink of her best friend, her ride or die, on her. And Andy Cohen was just sort of like, oh, okay. And then he just moved on. What? We're just going to move on. Another reunion where she just skirts by any accountability. How do you defend a person like this? How do you invite this person to the White House to talk about Black women and their fertility issues and how they're treated at the doctor's office? How do you? Okay. But fine. Well, again, I'm not saying that Dr. Jackie is responsible for Dr. Heavenly, but that's your best friend. That's who you're inviting to these events. But again, we also have seen behavior from Dr. Jackie that sort of contradicts all the things that she tries to promote. And I'm not saying that she doesn't believe in them, but you kind of look at her like, do you? Do you? All right. Moving on, moving on. And again, this is another, okay, I have to do it though. I have to, because this is what I mean. If they had an impartial host that looked like them, I think this is where we would have someone hold Dr. Jackie accountable. Andy Cohen's not going to do it. Andy Cohen can't see from a Black woman's perspective on how critical that conversation is, how important the hypocrisy that we're seeing with Dr. Jackie. He's also an industry plant. No, he's a network plant. So he's not going to, because they know it's a liability. They work with the network. She's probably going to make a big deal about it. But, anyone else here on my own platform, we're going to hold her accountable. Answer the damn question, hypocrite. Oh, I said it. Okay. Gabs on TikTok says Dr. Jackie is mean, point blank, period. All right, let me say thank you, because we had quite a few super chats, and I do want to. I really don't want to dwell on some of the non-factor scenes of what we saw, but Dr. Jackie doesn't answer that question. Heavenly says that she respects Sweet Tea even more because she actually showed up for the reunion, and referencing Phaedra not showing up for the reunion. So in this scene, it seems as if Sweet Tea and Dr. Heavenly are in a decent place. She's like, Sweet Tea says, I might even unblock you. And Dr. Heavenly is like, oh, I'm blocked? You know what? So they seem to be, at least, because Dr. Heavenly and Sweet Tea seem to be like, okay, they find at least common ground where they can be civil, only for it to turn left, not surprise, later on in the episode when you're watching the men on stage, backstage. Okay? Future MD, who sent us a super chat earlier, and I was asking if they were becoming a future doctor, which I love to see. Please keep us updated. Future MD said, to answer your question from before, I graduate in 8 months. Yay! Congratulations. What's your specialty? You don't have to send a super chat. If you can just let me know when they respond. I'm just saying, with Regina says, Dr. Jackie uses Heavenly because Heavenly will say all the things that Dr. Jackie's afraid to say out loud. That's the vibe it's giving. That's the energy it's giving, because she never does, at least not to us. Cameron, thank you so much for the super chat. Cameron says Contessa shouldn't come for Heavenly. What do you mean she shouldn't come for Heavenly? Why not? Explain. Pamela, thank you so much for the super chat. Pamela says, not disrespectful. Allura wasn't ready to film. It felt disrespectful based off of the edit. I was like, okay, that was a little. No, she was on the phone. She wasn't on camera. And the way she spoke to her mother was quite telling. Again, them being best friends. Miss Esquire, thank you so much for the super chat. Miss Esquire, Shimmy, Esquire sent at $20. Dr. Heavenly is a deeply insecure woman. She thought losing weight and improving her aesthetic would make her feel better and be better liked. The weight of her insecurity is something she hasn't done the work to lose. And you saw what Dr. Mimi said, that Dr. Heavenly needs to work on her inner child. Her assessment of the group was interesting. Bernice, thank you so much for being a member for 34 months. Everyone drop some flowers in the chat for Miss Bernice. The only reason Miss Bernice has been around a long time. She's seen a lot of people come and go, right? Some of y'all have been members for 40-something months. Y'all seen a lot of folks that have been in the live chat come and go. Okay. Nicole, thank you so much for the hand heart on TikTok. Miss Bernice says, the only reason Jackie cried was to deflect and get sympathy. She's rotten to the core like Heavenly. Hashtag birds of a feather. Yeah. SD Mac, thank you so much for being a member and for the super chat. Contessa and Heavenly are more similar than Contessa would like to believe. Ooh, do tell. Heavenly letting y'all know a network is okay with her being messy on social. That's what I got from when she was saying that to Andy. Tamara does the same. It is a game. Yeah, that's why she tried to turn it on Andy. She was sort of like, would y'all want me to stop being on my YouTube channel? So low-key, she was saying that they're okay with it. Clearly, they're okay with it. If they were not okay with it, they would have shut it down. They would put it in her contract, like, you can't do this. But they believe that it brings attention to the show. And dare I say, maybe it does. Is it the right attention? I don't know. Pamela, thank you so much for the super chat. Pamela says, Married to Medicine was one of the best shows on Bravo. Contessa was talking about Dr. Heavenly's husband, no gloves off. Dr. Heavenly University and Quad Squad member. I couldn't tell Pamela, but I appreciate the super chat. Rashima, hey Rashima, thank you for being a member. Rashima says, do you remember when he told her to use a coaster? Who, Dr. Gregory? Oh yeah, I do remember that. That was the season. It's so funny that you remember that. You pointed that out. There were a lot of microaggressions from Doc. I could not live with Dr. Gregory. Besides the voice. Okay. Keith, thank you so much for being a member for the super chat. Heavenly's mama didn't like her. Her sister don't like her. Majority of the cast don't like her. They just don't want. They just don't want her to say yo mama. Oh my gosh, when you put it like that, though. Makita, thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate the support. Chrissy, thank you so much for the super chat. Chrissy says that read by Quad was mean. Also, Sweet Tea saying that to Dr. Free was a dig at Quad. Both rude, both nasty. Did you guys watch Sweet Tea and Dr. Simone's conversation on YouTube? So they put out a teaser where because again, I'm watching the teaser thinking that Quad and Dr. Simone resolved their issues at the reunion. Yes, we saw a teaser that there was some more beef during the reunion, but now I see why she did it. But again, I don't trust Dr. Simone's intentions. Before, you were trying to make it seem like Sweet Tea should just let it go. And now all of a sudden you're trying to be best buddies with her. It feels like you're trying to form some sort of alliance. That's just the energy that I was getting. The Truth, thank you so much for the super chat. The Truth says Quadisha has one of the nastiest attitudes I've seen on TV and is a narcissist who looks down at everybody. She's been making fun of and imitating Sweet Tea from day one. Quad's nose is in the air. Hashtag Beverly Hillbilly. We talked about that last week. I don't feel like that's fitting for Quad, but I will say, pay attention to Quad. Oh, I have to give you a shimmy the truth for the $20. I have to say though, pay attention to Quad's facial expressions in this reunion. It was definitely giving like her nose is in the air, like she's above it all. Just very wicked. Not like the movie, but like mean. Go back and watch her facial expressions and even the way she spoke to Sweet Tea and talking about Sweet Tea's infertility. And then when she was talking with Dr. Simone backstage, the way she talked to Dr. Simone backstage, we got to talk. We've got to talk. I did not like it. And I know some of y'all are Quad Squad, but when is it enough is enough? When is it too low? Or are we always moving the goalposts so that way we can go even lower? Nelly, thank you so much for the super chat and for being a member. Nelly says, Quad making light of Sweet Tea's fertility was disgusting. Last time I checked, Quad is 43 years old and does not have a successful birth, as she doesn't have any kids. Please be humbled. And now she's going through that journey. I wouldn't even talk about, first of all, you didn't talk about people's health stuff regardless. But if now you're on that journey yourself, Miss Brooklyn Diamond, thank you so much for being a member and for the super chat. And you're going to get a shimmy, Miss Brooklyn Diamond. Woo, that chest workout, yo. Feeling it. Dr. Jackie is a great politician. She knows what to say, but there is no real feeling behind it. That part. And this is probably why, okay, I'm going to go there. Go check our recasts. We've talked about Dr. Jackie over the years and what people have said in regards to her demeanor, her bedside care, and all that good stuff. Ms. Esquire, thank you so much for another super chat. Hypocrisy is the practice of claiming to have moral standards or beliefs to which one's own behavior does not conform. Is that not Jackie? Well. Well. V, thank you so much for being a member for the super chat. I thought it was weird that Sweet Tea didn't catch that Quad was trying to take up for her at first. Because I think in Sweet Tea's mind, she's always going to defend Dr. Gregory. Anything Quad says is always going to be, she's always going to be defensive. So I think that's what it is. Roots, thank you so much for the super chat. Did you see that Dr. G is going to perform that song? I did, and I will be skipping it. I won't skip it here.
Set me free.
Yeah. A little baby child. Good job, Gregory. I promise you, Bravo. We did not need a performance of this. That says to me in part 3, you guys don't have a lot. You don't have a lot. We did not need or ask for a performance from Dr. Gregory. He's not an artist. Okay, let's stop wasting our time. But I guess because they let Dr. Scott perform, I mean, Dr. Scott, it was definitely miles ahead, and that's saying a lot in regards to how bad Dr. Gregory is. All right? All right. We'll get back to it. And Blooming, hold on. What did Blooming say? Hold on. I lost it. I lost your comment. Oh, wait, no. Blooming says, and now Simone talking about, we're going to talk about that because some people try to paint the whole karma conversation that Dr. Simone as one thing. But if you watch the episode, we see what she's talking about. We'll talk there. We'll get there, though. All right. So back to this. So they're keeping Dr. Gregory isolated from the rest of the group. And it's because he's made accusations against King. Okay. I just found it to be weird because Dr. Gregory's issues are not with the rest of the group. It's only with King. But, I mean, this is an HR nightmare because part of me feels like they're isolating him as opposed to he should be with the other men. But I guess in production's justification, they're thinking, well, he has an issue with more than one of the guys. He has an issue with King. He has an issue with Dr. Damon Daddy. So maybe that's how they justified it. But it definitely did kind of feel weird that he's separated from everyone else. And King, who the accusations against, was with the guys. I'm sure they had no problem with it because they're cool. They're cool with King. But I thought that was interesting. I thought that was interesting. But I have to say, I was like, I don't know if I would have handled this way. But I think production justifies it by they didn't want Dr. Gregory and Dr. Damon to have a conversation. So, Mimi's world. Is this Dr. Mimi? She says, he said that he needed extra security. I mean, that could have been security there, but who knows? Ms. Esquire said it felt intentional. It definitely felt intentional. That's the feeling that I got. But again, they could justify it by saying, oh, he wanted more security. But for me, it was representative of production doesn't like Dr. Gregory either. Dr. Gregory is not liked by the other guys, really. I think they tolerate him, but okay. Okay. Miss Brooklyn says, no, it's telling who they singled out, and I would not be surprised to not see the Lunsfords on next season. I will say, originally, over the last few weeks, I felt like we wouldn't see Dr. Gregory and Sweet Tea back, but after watching Dr. Simone and Sweet Tea together, it felt like, well, now they're building some sort of alliance, and it felt like Dr. Simone was trying to get Sweet Tea and Toya to kind of get back on the same page. So I'm not completely 100% thinking that the Lunsfords won't be back next season. But it's going to be hard to bring them back next season, and Quad is probably refusing still to film with them or be around them. I don't know. Even if Dr. Gregory and King make peace, I just don't see that lasting forever. Another whole season, this is going to come up again. And honestly, I think the fans, I won't speak for everyone. You guys will let me know. I can speak for myself. I'm over it. Like, I don't care about Quad and Dr. Gregory, and I don't need to see them and their BS and their toxicity playing out again for another season because it's going to be the same thing. I don't need to see it. Bye. To both couples. Bye. Because either one, if they both stay, it's going to be the same thing again. But then if one couple stays, I'm like, neither, not interesting. What is going on with you? Who cares? Let's refresh the cast, please. Thank you. Could care less. Exactly. Nash says we are tired of the back and forth. You don't like each other. You don't have, when you divorce someone, you don't have to be around them normally. But here we are. Maybe a nice little blueberry shake. Not shake. It's like a protein thing. All right. Jasmine says, or both should go. Yeah. At this point, I mean, we've been saying that Married to Medicine after this season, we feel like a refresh needs to happen. It doesn't mean to get rid of everyone, but there definitely has to be some critical changes in regards to this cast. And at this point, Dr. Jackie, I know they would like to say you're the medicine, but at this point, you're not bringing much of anything. And unless we're going to the Dominican Republic next season, I could care less if you came back or not.
Oh.
All right. All right. So Dr. Gregory is isolated from the rest of the group. King's in the other room with the other men. Dr. Mimi comes out. Dr. Mimi looks gorgeous. Gorgeous. The dress was dressing. Okay. So she comes out. They kind of review what Mimi has done. Dr. Mimi, Quad says there's so much more to her. They hung out at one particular point as a couples. They hung out. They're actually probably more like in the same age range. So they probably like see, I could see that being a little bit more their cup of tea. Okay. So apparently Mimi and Quad got along. All right. Mimi does defend Sweet Tea. And she says, it's hard for any first year of anyone's relationship. Okay. And she says, then for everyone to be commenting on it, the group, the ex is there. All of that's going to be challenging and triggering for any couple. That's all right. Brooke and Rose says, the DR edition, I'm here for it. Okay. Mia says, can we keep Cecil and not Simone? Doesn't work that way because he's not he's married to medicine, but she's still got to be on the show. Regina says, we didn't get enough of Dr. Mimi. And I wonder why. I don't think she brought like the crazy or drama, but I wonder why we didn't get to see more of her during the season. Again, maybe production had their own focus that they wanted to focus on for whatever reason. All right. So they flash back to Jackie's visit to the White House. This is where Dr. Jackie talks about some of the more important things that are going on in the medical community, especially when it comes to when Black women are treated at the doctor's office. They talk about her visit to the White House. That's where she talks about the mother-in-law stitch. I thought that was weird. Why is that? I mean, I guess they had to give Dr. Jackie something because if they didn't talk about these non-moments from Dr. Jackie during the season, Dr. Jackie would just sort of be sitting there, all dressed up to go nowhere. So I feel like this is why they talk about these non-factor cringy scenes in regards to the mother-in-law stitch. Why was that relevant to talk about? Okay. So they talk about that. Andy talks about getting Botox because they flash back to that when Dr. Contessa was getting Botox in her own office. Dr. Scott says that he feels like men shouldn't get Botox as much as women. First of all, Dr. Scott, that don't make no sense. So when should men be getting? If you're getting Botox as a man, it's not just about not having lines. That's your skincare to prevent. Why am I telling the doctor this? That's to prevent against more wrinkles. So if you're inconsistent with getting your Botox, then, sir, you're going to end up, it's like wasting money. That doesn't make sense. But okay, so Dr. Contessa says that Dr. Scott says that he doesn't think that men should get Botox as much as other women, as much as women. So this is when Andy reveals, I got Botox about a month ago. So we all were like, really? They were like, oh, because it's a month. And Dr. Contessa said, well, that's not bad in regards to about a month. Well, I also think that Andy waited too long. He has the wrinkles in his forehead and things like that. So I think he waited too long. You know what I mean? Okay. Let me see what you guys are saying. So he said it took him he got it about a month ago. It doesn't look like he got anything, but okay. Fine. Dr. Simone said that don't come down to Atlanta to get it because then his face is going to look like it's frozen. All right. This is my question. Miss J. Reed says, did he really fall in the bathroom? I have questions. I don't want to start nothing, but did Dr. Scott really fall in the bathroom? Did he trip over something? Like, we didn't get the full details. Because when Dr. Scott comes out, you see they had to cover it. They didn't do a good job covering it up with makeup. He had like a little patch. I was like, did Dr. Contessa hit you on the head? Just asking. We're going to ask because, again, we don't feel like we had resolution in regards to what happened before. So we're wondering. Okay. All right. Again, I will point out Dr. Contessa has been sitting out there since the beginning of this reunion. Part 2, she's still sitting out there. I think Dr. Contessa is coming back full-time next season. Okay? Amit said, I saw what you said, Amit. I see what y'all saying in the chat. I just want to say to all of you that are saying what you're saying in the live chat, I had the same thought. I just didn't want to speculate, but I was like, But she did say in the reunion that her and Scott are better than ever. They went into counseling and they're better than ever. I just don't feel like they explained like what happened, right? They sort of kind of brushed over it. But okay. All right, fine. All right. What else happens? So they talk about that. They talk about the Botox. Oh, so Dr. Mimi gives her assessment of the group, and I feel like her assessment of the group was really spot on. Anyone else? I thought her assessment of the group was really good. I don't know what she said. The whole thing with Dr. Jackie, I was like, whatever. It felt like, again, everyone's bound to Dr. Jackie because the real thing I would have said to Dr. Jackie, be real. But okay. So she says this about Quad. She says Quad needs to grieve it out. Quad has been through a lot. She's had a lot of loss. So I wasn't surprised by this. She then says to Heavenly, she says that Heavenly needs to nurture her inner child. Not shocking. Okay. She says to Dr. Simone she needs to be less rigid. Oh, I thought that was interesting. And to Toya, she's like, you don't need any more validation. I was like, oh. Miss Brooklyn Diamond says, I thought she was too nice. Well, she's a psychiatrist. She's not going to read them for filth. Okay. On here. All right. I mean, she kind of did in her own way with certain people, but with Sweet Tea, she says, you need to let us know where you need to be supported. And that goes back to the conversation that she had with Sweet Tea and Toya. Okay. And then she says to Contessa, she's like, don't be distracted. Put the energy where it's supposed to be. I thought that was interesting. I was like, what does that mean? I mean, like, I know what it means, but like in particular, when it comes to Dr. Contessa, she says, don't be distracted. Put that energy where it's supposed to be. But Jillian says, yeah, Dr. Mimi described them well. She did. I was impressed. Again, she gives therapy. She gives psychiatrists. Dr. Gregory, I don't get that energy from. All right. Speaking of Dr. Gregory, the husband segment come out. So the husbands come out. Before we get to the husbands, I do want to say thank you to Factor. On a busy Monday like today, Factor makes eating right and feeling great easy with their chef-crafted and dietitian-approved meals. They have 40-plus add-ons, which I love. And if you're trying to lose up to 80 pounds? No, 8 pounds. You can lose so with their keto options. And this is based off a randomized controlled clinical trial with Factor Keto. Results will vary depending on diet and exercise. And they have all kinds of things from Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and like I said, even keto. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/Kempire50off and use code Kempire50off to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code Kempire50off at factormeals.com/Kempire50off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. More information on Factor Meals will be available in the description. All right. Wow, I haven't seen this many dislikes in so long. You guys are very passionate. But we do have 712 likes. Thank you so much for all of the support to everyone that has liked the video already. But we have 3,000 of you in the building. Be sure to like the video. It's an easy and free way of supporting not just me, but your channel as well, because I know you content creators are watching as well. All right. The Boss Lady, thank you so much for the super chat. Boss Lady says, Dr. Simone does not like Quad because Cecil likes Quad as a friend. She's having PTSD from Tammy. We're going to talk about that in a second. Zoe, thank you so much for the super chat and for being a member. I just realized now that Jackie and Simone are still not close, just hanging out in the same group now. We've talked about that. The Truth, thank you so much for the super chat. Has anyone stopped to think that maybe Dr. G and Quad are the same person with the same flaws? They both seem verbally abusive to me and were probably lighting each other up behind closed doors. They seem pretty similar to me. I mean, that's a hot take. Not really. I think some people have said that before, but we could keep talking about it. Scarlett, thank you so much for the super chat. Scarlett says Quad thought she landed with that fertility read and it landed like a paper plane. Ooh. Miss V, thank you so much for the super chat. Miss V says, I don't know why, but the zoom up to Dr. G jumping out the car like a toddler made me die of laughter. Where he jumped out of the car and almost fell. That made me kind of giggle like, oh my God, he's just awkward. Keith, thank you so much for the super chat. Keith says, I wanted Sweet Tea to tag me in in the read. Wait, to tag me in to read these girls down. She's working with so much material, but I just think her mouth is running faster than her brain. Okay. As you just read her. Okay. Ariel, thank you so much for the super chat. Ariel says, I don't think it's fair to hold Jackie accountable for things Heavenly says. If she agrees with it, then yes. Hold her accountable. Call me crazy. I don't care. I mean, it's not necessarily holding Dr. Jackie accountable, but it's at the same time you're acting as if this is like your best friend, and your best friend is making you look bad. She's made you look bad. Your whole life got blown up because of you going on her YouTube channel and saying similar things that she said. Wanda, thank you so much for super chat. Wanda says Damon showed he has balls without Heavenly. We'll talk about that in a second. Soul Bomb Sisters, thank you so much for the super chat. Soul Bomb says, why is Quad on Married to Medicine? She's no longer married to medicine. She would be most welcomed on the Housewives of Atlanta, much better than Britt Edie. Atlanta would be more lucrative and better platform for Quad and King. If that's a real relationship. The other thing too is you want people that are actually housewives. You want people that actually have a storyline. What is Quad's storyline? Forget about the whole married to medicine. I think we wouldn't care about Quad being married to medicine if Quad, outside of these last 2 seasons with the whole Dr. Gregory of it all, before we were watching her wash her wigs. Outside of that, what is Quad's personal storyline, or what's going on with Quad that would be interesting to watch right now? Just asking, because based on what I've seen, even this season, it's like, even when she has her own separate scenes with King, I'm like, all right. So taking her from Married to Medicine to Atlanta is not really going to change. Doreen, thank you so much for the super chat. Doreen says, do you think Quad is trying to get pregnant is trying to get pregnant any for the show and Dr. Gregory to get under sweet? You think she's going to have a whole baby just to get under Dr. Gregory's skin? I mean, I wouldn't put it past people on reality television, but I don't know. Darian, thank you so much for the super chat. Darian says, this show should be called Married to Misogyny and Patriarchy. Well, CC, thank you so much for the super chat. Let me shimmy for the $20. As an OBGYN, I found that the mother-in-law stitch to be gross. And this is coming from an OBGYN. Any man that has asked for the husband's stitch while I was suturing their wife or partner after childbirth, I asked, how small do they need me to make it? Oh, wait, no, you're repeating what Dr. Jackie said, I think you're saying. As a to be gross. Any man that has asked the husband said, well, I'm not sure if I understand if that's what you're saying or CC, but thank you so much for the super chat. Chrissy, thank you so much for the super chat. Chrissy says, I wouldn't be shocked if Dr. Free and Dr. Damon Daddy end up in litigation behind their exchange. Not Dr. Free. Doctors on TV bickering about patient care. Yeah, that's not a good look. And I feel like there's something missing from that story. The Truth, thank you so much for another super chat. Let me shimmy. All right. The Truth says, when is Quad going to give back that stolen Rolls Royce? Wasn't King just found guilty for scamming someone out of a Rolls Royce I can't locate to this day? First of all, isn't it a lawsuit? He wasn't found guilty, right? And so, if he comes on the show, all of his tea will come out. So it's a lawsuit. I don't believe that there's an actual verdict that I recall. Tamala, thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate it. Let me see. V, thank you so much for another super chat. She says, Quad should only come back if she's pregnant. She would be over the top dramatic. Love to see it. Really? Thank you, Miss Brooklyn, for the super chat. Miss Brooklyn says they lost the medicine. I want to see more community reach outs, more discussion on the health issues in the community, the stresses of being married to medicine. Yeah. Look, yeah. All right. Let me see what you guys are saying. Okay, let me get to this. So the husbands come out. All right. The husbands come out. King apparently did not show up for a meeting. We think we knew this already. Didn't show up for a meeting that was planned with Dr. Gregory before the reunion. All right. Andy's going around the room asking the guys what they've been up to. Greg says has he been writing a few songs? He's like, hey, I've been writing a few songs from his music. Please set me free from his music. Oh, please and thank you. All right. So Scott, we already talked about Scott's bruise. We can move on from there. Andy, though, as they start to get into the situation, this is the first time that King and Dr. Gregory have seen each other since the sandbar. Okay. So Andy says, well, maybe we can start off with a handshake. Really? We really want them making contact at this particular point? I don't think so. But they don't end up having a handshake, okay? There's so much like non-factor stuff that they talk about. Dr. Eugene is talking about his business and adding Botox and filler, but he wants a cute woman. Fine. Damon then gets into it with Dr. Gregory. So Damon said that he was upset that Dr. Gregory did not speak up on his character. And we talked about this before. All right. I don't want to rehash it, but Dr. Damon says that's Patricia says, Kemp, I thought you removed it from your soundboard. Not yet. After the season ends, then we're definitely removing it. Definitely after next week's episode. So Dr. Damon's biggest issue with Dr. Gregory was the fact that Dr. Gregory did not speak up for him when there was the accusation that he cheated on Dr. Heavenly. That has been his biggest issue with Dr. Gregory. Mind you, I felt like they made peace on that during the season. So why at this reunion are we still talking about this? But I've been telling you, I think the bigger issue, which they end up talking about, is the fact that Dr. Gregory stopped taking patients from Dr. Damon. So they have a back and forth about that because Dr. Damon says that Dr. Gregory was being spiteful. Look, I believe that Dr. Gregory was being spiteful. But Dr. Gregory makes it seem like I told you that I did not, you have the patients that you were referring to me he didn't have the bandwidth for those types of patients. Which, again, it's a great excuse. I wanted to understand, though, did you formally tell him this? Or do you say this over the phone? Did you send a letter? Did you send an email? But Dr. Damon Daddy really feels as if, no, he did that out of spite. Again, we've already seen how Dr. Gregory moved the season with the whole King of it all. We did feel like I think he was afraid of King, maybe on some level, but not that afraid. I felt like he did that out of spite because he knew that would probably limit Quad from filming. So I feel like he can be a spiteful person. So I just kind of wish that he's like, I refrain the right to work with clients that I want to work with. I'm assuming he has no obligation because this is his own private practice, correct? He has no obligation to take referrals from Dr. Damon. So I think Dr. Damon says that I just wish he would say that. Well, he also doesn't want to seem spiteful because that would be showing his hand. Okay? Doesn't make it right, but that's the feeling that I got. I don't blame him, especially after your wife just called me a pedophile on social media and then said that I'm not respected. So if I'm not respected, why? Go talk with your wife. She's saying that I'm not respected in the medical community. And then hashtag pedophile. So if I'm not respected, why are you referring clients to me? Dr. Damon Daddy, why are you referring clients to him? Now I'm looking at you, though, like, but maybe he's a good psychiatrist. I don't know. But okay. Jamie says, why was Curtis even there? I know he'd rather be in DR. Okay. I know he'd rather be in DR. All right. Moving on. So they had that back and forth in regards to Dr. Damon and Dr. Gregory. I don't feel like they really got to anywhere. Dr. Damon trying to compare the cheating rumors versus what Dr. Heavenly did in regards to calling him a pedophile on social media. I don't feel like they go hand in hand. Okay, I don't feel like they compare because you being called a cheater, I don't believe that's hurting your business. Calling someone a pedophile will hurt his business, could potentially get him locked up or lose a job. Okay, so I didn't feel like that was a rightful comparison. But I know for Dr. Damon Day, his integrity is a big deal. Then all of a sudden we see Dr. Gregory's so awkward. He says, everyone is sitting there like, what is wrong with this man right now? But that says to me, the reason why he didn't want to defend Dr. Damon Daddy's character is because he doesn't believe that he does. He believes that he has a potential, and maybe he knows something. Again, Dr. Simone and Toya says, I heard some stuff on the streets. Just saying. But I did say after watching this exchange with Dr. Damon, and I feel like Dr. Damon has been showing his true self this season more than we've seen before. He usually kind of play it to the background. But I'm definitely seeing why. Again, tell me about you and show me your friends, and it tells me more about you. So your partner is Dr. Heavenly. I already know that Dr. Damon, he may not speak out the way that Dr. Heavenly does, but he thinks like she does in a lot of ways. So I kind of look at, especially this season, I look at Dr. Damon Daddy like, look, and if you watch the Simone and Sweet Tea conversation on YouTube, she talks about her relationship with Cecil and like they're busy spending time with each other and they're not on the YouTube. I have to say, I do look at Dr. Heavenly and your relationship. I was never one of the people to be like, oh, there's problems in the relationship and that's why they're not sharing anything on the show. I never was one of those people. But the fact that you are hemmed up on YouTube all the time and you have multiple thriving businesses and a husband says to me like, when are you spending time with your husband? You're always in that closet with the wigs. Just asking. And you know what also, and I've said this before, and when I used to work in corporate America, when we would have, not me personally be affected, but I would see miserable people at work. I was just like, you can't have a happy home and be this miserable at work and making other people's lives miserable. So that's why I kind of look at Dr. Hamill like, you can't be that happy at home if you're acting like this on the internet and this miserable at work. You can't. That doesn't make sense to me. But okay. Oh, wait. Armaine says, Dr. Heavenly better not ever comment on anyone else's appearance until she fixes her husband's teeth. That man is walking around with a whole staircase in his mouth. Well, she did last week. She posted, mind you, I'm sure she didn't do this herself. I'm pretty sure one of the boopies, probably took that picture of Dr. Contessa's mouth and posted it on social media. And she ran with that. She ran with it. Mm-hmm. All right. Before I move on to the mess that happens back behind the scenes, because while the husbands are out, the women are all together in one room and they're reacting. Dr. Heavenly, when Dr. Gregory and Dr. Damon are going back and forth, she's back there defending her man. She's like, yeah, baby. That's what he said. And Sweetie's like, shh. She's like, don't shush me. Mind you, they made peace. Now they're going back and forth behind the scenes. So peace is not between Dr. Heavenly and Sweetie at all. Okay? All right. Let me drop the call-in link before I move on. I'm going to drop the call-in link on our community tab for our Team Kempire members, Royal Court members, and Senior Royals. All right. Call-in link. And for the live chat, keep liking the video. We're almost at 1,000 likes. Thank you guys so much for liking the video. But we have over 3,000 of you. So let's get those likes up, and I will drop the call link for the general audience that want to call in and share their thoughts. Okay? All right. All right. So I dropped the call link for our members. It's not a part of your membership, but become a member today. teamcampfire.com/join. K-Shaft says, Kempire, they did not make peace, laughing out loud. I know they didn't, but it seemed as if they at least said they would be civil. And immediately backstage, they end up in a fight. Okay? Taurus with the T. Love it. Thank you for being a member. Taurus with the T says, Heavenly has the spirit of an insecure, envious woman. You can shave the weight off, but you can't shave the hatred off. Oof. Oof. We're done. Look, and I don't want this to come across like I haven't in the past, because it's here on YouTube. I've enjoyed Heavenly on Married to Medicine over the years, but I've seen a change in her, at least in the last couple of seasons. Like, I know she's been problematic for a long time, but I've just seen a real change in her over the last couple of years. Okay. All right. So back to this. So Dr. Damon and Dr. Gregory, they just disagree on the way things went down in regards to the client referral, the patient referrals, and things like that. And then they seem to at least find some common ground. I don't know if they really truly made peace, because again, we felt like we've had this conversation between these two during the season, and here we are at the reunion, and they're still mad about the same thing. And I think the bigger thing is not the fact that Dr. Damon is concerned about his character being questioned. I think Dr. Damon is more upset about the patient referrals. That's his business. I think that's what he's more mad about. Again, I don't know why he would refer them to that way. Dr. Mimi, are you taking referrals? Okay. Exactly. The makeup she's the makeup lady creations, because we talked about this when the Brooke Ashley was here with Taria Faizan on Friday. If you missed it, be sure to check out that video that we did. She says Dr. Heavenly is the only Bravo celebrity who's consistent with YouTube. She really is. It says a lot. All right. So then it leads to this conversation. Curtis defends Quad. Yes, Curtis has a moment and he says, well, Quad has spent all last season seeing Dr. Gregory and Sweet Tea on camera and things like that. So backstage, Dr. Simone says, well, technically, Quad did not see that. She wasn't in the group. She did not see it because the only way she saw that, them being on the show, was if she watched it on television. So she's saying that backstage, and Quad says that the problem, she's like, the real problem is that this couple was ushered into the group, which a lot of people have said, like, why would they bring this couple into the group? And I've said too, well, we have to keep in mind too, Dr. Gregory was still friends with this group, even after he was no longer on the show. Okay. So Dr. Simone then says, we can usher whoever we want to usher into this group. You were giving us your Ada kiss. You weren't in the group. You weren't friends with us. We were actually messing with these people when you weren't friends with us. Okay. So this leads to a big argument backstage. I didn't see this. This just reminded me that whatever issues that Quad and Dr. Simone had really wasn't settled. It was just, they were getting along to get along, but the amount of venom that came out of their mouths during this back and forth, I was just like, oh. At one particular point, Quad says to Dr. Simone, shut the F up. Again, if you watch the video, the edited version of what we're watching, Dr. Simone had her points, but Quad was coming at her like she was directing her venom at Dr. Simone, meaning like shut the F up. As opposed to defending her point, she's saying shut the F up. And then at one particular point, she says to Dr. Simone, you are dirty B word. I was like, wait a minute. And the way she was looking at Dr. And yes, Dr. Simone was in her face like this. And you were giving us your Ada kiss and blah, blah, blah. And then Quad is like, oh, I was knocking on doors looking for your father and blah, blah, blah. Again, this is where I'm reminded that these housewives, these reality TV stars are listening to you guys. They're seeing what you guys are saying in the comment section. Okay? So I felt like her saying that was her listening to what the fans have been saying, because that was how many years ago? You don't have any recent updates as to how you've been there for Dr. Simone? And Dr. Simone says you only did that because it was on camera. Oh. You only did that because it was on camera. So the part 2 of the Married to Medicine reunion ends with this like big argument between Dr. Simone and Quad backstage. At one particular point, Sweet Tea had to stand up to stop them from actually engaging. I was just taken aback by how the amount of venom between the two of them. Again, I was taken aback when Quad said to Dr. Simone, shut the F up, and then called her a dirty B word. I was like, the other thing, and I believe it was Dr. Heavenly, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it was Dr. Heavenly. It has to be Dr. Heavenly because none of us were there. She was the one to put out there that during this argument, Dr. Simone had brought up this being Quad's karma. And a lot of people ran with the whole everything that happened to Quad, including losing her niece and things like that. But if you watch the actual episode, Dr. Simone says the fact that we weren't effing with you or, being around you, that was your karma because you were giving us your Ada kiss. Basically saying that you weren't effing with us, so we weren't effing with you. That was your karma. A lot of people ran with the fact that they were trying to make it seem that she was talking about everything that happened to Quad during that time. And that's not how in my perception of what I watched, I didn't take it as that. I took it as that's what she was referring to. Okay. And thank you guys so much for all the super chats. I know some of you don't have money to give to the channel, but you do have the ability to like the video. So if you haven't liked it already, be sure to like the video. Thank you so much to those that are able to send super chats, Venmos, Cash Apps. We appreciate all of the support. Cece, thank you so much for the super chat. Cece says, that's my comeback to them. Okay, for asking me to make it tighter. How small should I make it so it's tighter for you, sir? Oh, okay. See, I wasn't sure because we were talking about that whole mother-in-law stitch. Cece was talking. I just love we got the black doctors in the building. Thank you, Cece, for clarifying. I got a little confused. I was like, wait. Oh, Danielle, thank you so much for the super chat. Danielle says Quad has a background in medical sales. Oh, is that a defense to what people are saying in the chat in regards to her not being married to medicine? Yeah. Okay. Mr. Melon Magic, thank you so much for the super chat. Mr. Melon says, something I feel we as the audience need to understand at times is that the ladies can focus on medicine, but the network doesn't show it. Exactly. We've talked about that endlessly. There are whole storylines that the women bring to production and they decide to focus on what they want to focus on. Raina, thank you so much for the super chat. Raina says, I really question the validity of Quad and King's relationship because what man wants to be with a woman who is triggered by her ex? Here's the thing. I believe that King and Quad are in a relationship. I question, though, the depth of that relationship. Like, I don't know if I question the length of the relationship. I might question that, too. I just don't know if I believe that they're as deep in this relationship as they're acting on the show. You get what I'm saying? Like, I believe it's a real relationship, but I don't know if I believe that it is, we're going in the direction of marriage. We're going in the direction of having babies. I feel like it's a little early. Like, I feel like it's a newer relationship than she's admitting. Because Quad, come on, we talked about this at the top of the season. Quad did everything and anything to secure her spot this season. She made nice with the rest of the group. She made sure she engaged with the whole Sweet Tea and Dr. Gregory of it all. She said, I'm going to bring a man on the show because everyone keeps saying I never bring a relationship on the show. So I really believe Quad did everything and anything to secure her spot this season. Queen T, thank you so much for the super chat. Queen T says, Dr. D doesn't seem mentally well. Is it me? I'll just leave that as a question. Darian, thank you so much for the super chat. Darian says, this show should be married to misogyny and the patriarchy. I think I've read that before. Thank you so much, Chioma, for the super chat. We appreciate your support and for being a member. Cameron, thank you so much for the super chat. Cameron says, but Greg wanted them to speak up for him with King. In regards to, you're saying that Dr. Gregory is a hypocrite for not speaking up. Miss V, thank you so much for the super chat. Miss V says, now, why would you want a cheater to defend you about cheating? Well, in regards to Dr. Damon, why would you want, because yes, Dr. Gregory's an admitted cheater. Why would you want a cheater to talk about your character in general? Again, I don't think that's the real reason. I definitely think it's more about the patient referrals. Nice, thank you so much for the super chat. Nice says, Toya is a fool. I would never forgive Quad after she alleged that me and my husband facilitated a robbery of Anila's home. Quad is low down. I mean, I think she made nice. I don't know if Toya really forgave Quad for that. Do we really believe that? I think they just made nice for the season. DJ, thank you so much for the super chat. DJ says, Sweet Tea really tries to be buddy-buddy with Contessa, but Contessa does not reciprocate, at least not in front of the ladies. Did anyone notice? I mean, she seemed like she is trying with Sweet Tea. I don't know if they really mesh well, but she looks like she was definitely trying with Sweet Tea. Not during the reunion. I'm talking about like on her YouTube channel and things like that. Rashawn, thank you so much for the super chat and for being a member. Let's usher in Tammy. Tammy is Cecil's ex-best friend. Leah, thank you so much for the super chat. Leah says, I rewatched the episode and Quad said it didn't bother her. Then Simone said what she said, then it got real nasty real fast. I was shocked to say the least. I watched it so many times just to catch some of the things that were being said because I tried to see what exactly Dr. Simone said that warranted Quad saying to her, you're a dirty B. I was like, so after watching how bad it got, I wasn't as upset with Dr. Simone doing Sweet Tea's channel, even though I don't think that it was 100% authentic because of how Dr. Simone has moved the entire season. But I was just like, damn, not a dirty B. Truth is Trouble, thank you so much for another super chat. Truth is Trouble says, Simone acts like a petulant child, and that's why her grown sons refuse to grow up. Oh my gosh. Tracy, thank you so. Here's the thing. I feel like nobody is likable on this damn show now. Who's left that's likable on this? Okay, Toya, but even Toya people didn't like her at some point. Tracy, thank you so much for super chat. Tracy says, Kempire Simone is giving envy, lack of a storyline, and Quad is giving rage. She was definitely giving rage during that backstage stuff. Wanda, thank you so much for super chat. Heavenly is trash talking about Contessa's breasts. I agree. Amanda, thank you so much for the super chat. Amanda says, Toya said it was Simone's idea to kick her out. Wait, Toya said it was Simone's idea to kick her out. Didn't Toya say on the last reunion that no one knew that Simone was going to do that? And everyone in the group said that no one knew that she was going to do that? And Dr. Simone said that she also didn't know that she was going to do that because she doesn't rehearse her stuff. Truth. Oh, Lord. I got a shimmy motorboat. Thank you so much for the $50 super chat. Quad strikes me as a come-up queen. I do believe Simone is right. Quad only comes around when there are cameras. Quad is lights, camera, action kind of girl. Does she have a genuine friendship, or is it about the social Hollywood climbing for Quad? That's the thing. Like, I know people do not like Dr. Simone, and I understand why. But also, Quad, I don't believe Quad. We've seen it for the last how many seasons, Quad giving them her A to kiss. She don't care about these women. She just knew what she needed to do to come back this season. She don't like them. And the way that she told Dr. Simone, you dirty black. No, she didn't say black, did she? I can't remember now. But it gave that. She might as well just added the black. It was just giving that. She's like, you dirty bitch. I was like, she said that from the of her throat. I was like, damn. That's why I had to replay how many times she said it, because I was like, wait, what did Dr. Simone say something that I missed that deserved that? Okay. Leah, thank you so much. Leah says, I just want Simone to understand why Quad didn't F with them. It's like season 6 didn't happen in her head and then proved it by what she said to Quad. But didn't they resolve all that stuff? That's my thing. I'm like, Regina, thank you so much for super chat. Regina says, it would be nice if we could see some of the scenes of what some of the men do in their jobs, like Curtis, Cecil, and King. More specifically, Curtis. Let's take a trip to DR. Chioma, thank you so much for the super chat and for being a member. Chioma says, I wonder how Simone and Toya's friendship will be since Simone has been formed an alliance with Sweet Tea. Remember, Toya called Simone a producer's pet. Also, maybe their relationship is a little shaky, but I did notice in Dr. Simone on Sweet Tea's channel, she was seemingly trying to foster some reconciliation between Sweet Tea and Toya. So I think they're probably good. I think at the end of the day, these women want to be on the show, so they kind of look past a lot of stuff in order to maintain certain relationships and alliances. Biz Nessa says, Curtis is living La Vida Loca in the DR. It's funny because it's true. Thanks for tuning in to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Podcast. As always, don't forget to give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And for everything Kempire Radio, head on over to KempireRadio.com.